Welcome back, everybody. Time for In the Lineup, brought to you by McDonald's. Paul Hendrick, who are you liking here?
Well, loving them all. I'm loving the sandpaper on the defense this year, Jody and Mark, and we welcome Bob McGill as well. I mean, it was one of the big knocks on this hockey team late last season that there was not enough grit on the blue line. Is Jonas Frögren, of all places, coming from Sweden, the man they called the fridge over there, Bob, does he play the game the way you like to have played it and really punishes people back there and makes them pay the price for going to the net?
He does, Paul. And to me, he's kind of an old-school guy. He's a throwback-type defenseman. He's not the swiftest of foot, but he plays positionally very well, and he throws the body. He's about 3 feet wide. It's unbelievable how big and strong this guy is, and I really like what he's done so far. He's brought some grit, making other opponents keep their heads up when they come across the blue line and in front of the Toronto Maple Leafs net.
5 hits against Pittsburgh and 8 block shots on the season, Mark. I remember you as a defenseman. You played hurt all the time. This guy had his ankle badly twisted against Pittsburgh. He remained in the game. And what is it like to play through pain, to have that high pain threshold, to still play at a high level despite the elements of the game always up against you?
Well, I think for him it's very easy. It's to stay in the National Hockey League, and you're going to do what you have to do. I think it was Anton Stralman. I was reading in some media reports the other day talking about how he sits beside him on the point, and after every game, Jonas Frögren has got an ice pack on him from having blocked a shot, thrown a hit. But it's exactly what you said, Bob. It's his style of play that this team so desperately needs on the back end. Luke Schenn is very similar, but not as gritty as he is. And I think the biggest thing for him to continue to improve is just to find his timing, knowing when to go after a guy to throw a big hit, and knowing when to stay back and let the player come to him. Because in the National Hockey League, the speed can kill you, and if you miss when you're going at him, it can really turn around and backfire on you.
A little earlier today, Andi Petrillo got an opportunity to speak with the newest big Swede on the Toronto Maple Leafs.
One thing Ron Wilson said at the start of the season is that if you don't block shots, you don't play. But you block the shots. Scared at all when you do that?
Oh, yeah, I'm scared to death all the time. I have to do it.
Now, you did that a lot in Sweden. Is that part of your game, just throwing the body in front of the puck?
Yeah, for sure. My part of the game is to play defense and help the team and help our goalie in front of the net. So.
Now, what goes through your mind before that? I mean, you said obviously it hurts, but do you think about it when it's about to happen, or do you just go for it?
I think it's 1 out of 10 it's hurting, so I don't think about it. I just do it, and hopefully I don't get hurt. So.
I know you don't want to get hurt. You've already blocked a couple big ones, but I know in the beginning we talked about how you're adjusting to the North American style. Is it getting a little bit more comfortable now the more games you go in?
Yeah, for sure. The best thing to learn about the game is to play games, so I'm learning a little step after games.
What do you feel is improving the most with you?
Sorry?
What do you feel is getting better in your play?
Like I said before, the game is a little bit faster, so I have to step it up a little bit, but I think I'm getting better.
Paul, I think you're right about fans embracing this guy. I think there will be a lot of people with Brian McCabe's old number 24 that might just redo the name on the top of that jersey and wear it to the game, because this guy really plays the style of hockey that is endearing to fans, especially on a team that's young and gritty, as you say.
And he doesn't obviously bring the same offensive component that Brian McCabe brings to the lineup, but what he does bring is the courage that these guys have talked about, the way Marc and Bob played the game as well, always in the face. He has a nasty disposition, and we saw him with Andi. Obviously a very nice guy, but when he tosses on the jersey and the puck has dropped, he's not a very nice guy.
I kind of like the fact that he admitted to you, Andi Petrillo, that when he goes down to block a shot, he is a little bit scared. I mean, we'd all be a little bit scared if we were blocking shots in the National Hockey League. And she is standing by right now with Rob Zettler, assistant coach of the Leafs. Let's listen in. Andi.
Jody, thank you. Rob, you knew you would be coaching a team that played man-to-man defense last year, and you'd have to teach your style of zone defense. What sorts of challenges do you face making that transition?
Well, you know, the guys have adapted to it fairly well. I think what you see is when they reach some stress or tight games or when they're tired, they kind of revert back to clutching and grabbing and getting into some man-on-man. And we're just trying to break those old habits. And it takes time. We've seen some progress, but there's still some work to be done.
Ron Wilson said the days of the defenseman standing behind the forward in the defensive zone are gone. He has to stand in front. Why is that more effective, especially on the penalty kill?
Well, when point men look up on the power play or forwards look up on the power play, all they see is a wall of Maple Leafs. They tend not to shoot, or if they do try and shoot, we block a lot of shots, and that's the goal. We want to be one of the number one blocking shots team in the league, and when people look up, all we want them to see are Maple Leafs, and that goes in our end and in their end. But for us to be good defensively and to block shots well, we have to front shots in front of the net, and we have to have our forwards in shooting lanes.
I know you mentioned the clutching and grabbing. I guess that's part of the pre-lockout NHL. Is that perhaps why Luke Schenn maybe is effective and excelling, because he doesn't have X amount of NHL playing years where he creates those bad habits and his mold is easier to crack?
Well, he's a sponge is what he is. He takes information and he applies it on the ice quickly, and he's adapted very well. From day one in rookie camp, we've asked him to play a certain way, and he's been able to do it. Strong on the puck, 2 hands on the puck, and getting in the way of people, getting in the way of puck, not allowing him to get to the net. That's why he's having success in our end.
Can the same be said for Jonas Frögren, who admits that back in Sweden it was all about getting in the passing lane, more so than getting behind the player as well?
Well, I think Luke is maybe a little bit more patient, and Jonas does a great job because he's physical, and he gets in the way of a lot of shots. He's fearless that way, as you've seen over the last few games. So he does a tremendous job of blocking shots, and in turn we're able to recover and go the other way with the puck.
All right, well, Rob, thanks for taking the time. Good luck tonight.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Jody Gang, back up to you.
All right, thank you very much, Andy. And it's time for Tell Me Something I Don't Know, brought to you by Canon. Paul?
Well, it might be entirely useless, but we here at Leafs TV like to tell stories from time to time. And when we were in Detroit for the season opener last week, John Mitchell brings 3 tins, no less than 36 chocolate chip cookies from his former billet's house in Plymouth. And the guys ate them up. They devoured them. And the key, John tells me, to great chocolate chip cookies is you bake them with vanilla pudding. Something we didn't know. Maybe something you didn't need to know, but that's the fact.
I can't bake, so.
Well, a long time ago, I played with Chris Pronger. His first year, he's 19 years old. I was 31 years old, playing in my 13th year. And, here's a guy, 6'6". There I am on the bench.
Look
right
at
beside him. Look at that.
Chewing gum.
Chris Pronger, he's 6'6". He's 220 pounds. Obviously a great player over the years. Won an MVP of the league, won a Norris Trophy. Do you know how well he skates and how well he moves around on the ice? He wears size 7.5 skates. A man of his size. He's got little tiny feet. Unbelievable the way he can still skate around out there.
Zdeno Chara, size 12, for the record.
I want to know how big are your feet?
Skates.
What size shoes do you wear?
I'm 11 and a half.
All right.
Apparently, Henny knows it all when it comes to feet size.
Well, vanilla pudding and cookies, who knew?
Something that you don't know that I'm going to tell you. You may know this because he's rather infamous for it, but Teemu Selanne is an avid car collector to the point where he owns 25 cars, and these aren't cheap cars. These are exotic cars. 6 or 7 of them are old vintage muscle cars. You see here is Dodge Viper. He owns a Ferrari Enzo. This is a car that only 400 were ever produced. Now, the reason I remember this fact was my first pro contract when I coming into training camp was with the Anaheim Mighty Ducks. And there was 5 rookies. We chipped in, and we rented a 4-seater car, 5 of us. And we pulled into the rink parking lot, and I thought I had driven to the wrong spot because it was like an exotic car parking lot. I pulled in between the Ferrari, the Dodge Viper. Teemu Selanne, the kind of quality guy he is, with these cars, you think he'd have them under lock and seal, not let anybody touch them. He lent 7 of them out to fellow rookies and to fellow teammates to drive around while they were there at training camp. Just to comment on the kind of character that Teemu Selanne has.
I did not know all of the above. Thank you, gentlemen. We're going to take a quick break, and as we go to break, we will check in on Rob Blake. Jason Blake as he prepares for the game tonight. I'm all focused on the pink ties, pink ribbon night.